Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Marination Project. I'm your host, Osvaldo Meseta. And I know this week we are late, but so long. I'm glad to have you here on like week 8 of the Artist Way has been kind of like hard on like this week is when a couple of things started being real. But before we start, here are three movie recommendations for creatives, especially. I watched these films and they ignited some aspects of me from a creative standpoint. So if you are a creative, here are three movies that you definitely need to watch. Now, the first movie is called Saturday Night, and it basically details the very first show put on by SNL. I'm not really a big fan of SNL, but this movie really made me have respect for what it represents and where it started. I love how it shows you what it's like to have an idea that you can't explain to people. Like the idea is inside your head, and every time people are trying to box it, and it's up to you to stand by that idea and make sure it comes to fruition. So it's a good story of resilience as well as having an out of the box idea and how to give it to the world. So I really love that, and I would definitely recommend that if you're someone who's got a big, new, fresh idea in your head and you're wondering where to go about it. That show is a very good show. And it also shows you the resistance that can come from it. The second movie I'm going to need you to watch, and this is like my favorite on this list, is Piece by Piece, which is a Pharrell Williams documentary that I personally dubbed a spiritual creative documentary because that's what it is. It's literally a documentary. Um, it is also my first Lego movie to ever watch. So that was kind of like a unique experience. I actually understood why you made that creative choice because it makes you focus more on the story and less on the people. Because in the beginning, I was tempted to be like, okay, what does this person look like? Who is this person? So that I can stereotype them in a way. But having Lego pieces moves that stereotype away. And why I could call it a spiritual creative documentary is because you get to see how creativity is birthed, how ideas are sourced in a way. And I even love the relationship with Pharrell Williams and the waters. You can tell that's his void of creation, where you see the influences with things like the Neptunes and how that name came about, as well as all the imagery within the movie regarding Neptune and the sea and all of those things. So that was very interesting. Like spiritual people look at that and be like, oh, interesting. Because the more I've been learning on this journey of the artist's way, I've come to realize that creativity is you entering this void of nothingness, like you being in a void, and in this void, reaching out to the creator for inspiration, for ideas, because the ideas are already there. They're just waiting to come into your awareness, into the consciousness of your awareness or the awareness of your consciousness. I don't know between the two, but you're waiting for it to come in and then you reach out and then take it, make it your own, and then do something with it. So it's creating something out of nothing, which is the basis of creation. So that's why I really loved that movie. And I think I sent a couple of people to say, yo, you need to watch this because I was really blown away, as well as seeing the ups and downs that come with creativity, but also being true to your path and why that's necessary. Because at some point, okay, I'm not gonna spoil the movie, but yeah, at some point, there's dips in the story and how you get out of that dip is what defines you. And it's all about reconnecting, to be honest. So that's the second movie recommendation. The third one and last one is Soul. It's the Disney movie. Now, this was actually recommended to me during post meditation. We're doing reintegration and we started talking. And this lady, she works in marketing. Shout out to Robin. She then says, have you watched the movie Soul? I'm like, no. And it's like, because I always looked at that movie. I'm like, oh, no, 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 Ajay. May. Um, but it turns out to be such a good movie in explaining purpose. and what we think it is and the spark and all of that. Like, is a multi-passionate. There's always this internal conflict, internal fight between choosing what you want to do, all the things you want to do, versus the way the world has been set up in that you pick one thing, you stay in that lane for the rest of your life, and that is what defines you. So that movie kind of like breaks, or at least it helped me break that idea to help me find the essence of what makes me me, and it's definitely a good movie to watch. It also introduced me to flow state. I didn't know what flow state was, but their take on it made me understand, and I'm like, oh, interesting. And after I had my first flow state, that was more conscious, like I was consciously aware that, oh, this is what flow state is about. And it's such a beautiful place to be in. And it also made me understand, because they do highlight the addiction, how addictive it can get. And people then end up trying to stay in flow state so much that you end up losing yourself together. So it's like a good movie to introduce you to balance within the realms of creativity and what you're called to do in this world. So those are my three movie recommendations. Watch them. Let me know how you kind of like enjoyed them or engaged with them rather. Yeah. Yeah. I did say this week was rough. This was definitely the week I'd say in my entire creative recovery process. I think this is when it really dawned on me, which is weird because it's like week 8. It's my reality dawned on me. Like I for a second there, I wasn't stuck in like daydreaming, or I wasn't stuck in like hope and faith of what is to come. It was more so sitting in my reality and be like, dang, I really don't know. Like, I really don't know. And I even tried to um, do some creative endeavors, and I saw ideas coming in left, right, center, but just lacking the willpower. Everything we've been taught so far in this journey on continuing, even when it's tough, and understanding where ideas come from, etc. It's been happening so much, but seeing how I lack the willpower and strength to put to to keep pushing, to keep the ideas, to keep the dreams alive has been taxing on me. I don't know lie. And it was funny when the week started. This was week 8 is literally recovering a sense of strength. And it was the perfect time for it. But somehow I didn't even read the chapter um, in the beginning of the week, which I always do. I still made so many excuses. I read like 2 pages left, and I left and I left, and I was like, here we are. I only finished this yesterday, and the tasks I'm yet to even finish them. Um, but it's been a tough one, and and it also showed me why it's so important. If there's one thing you're going to guard your routines. Like if you've created a healthy routine for yourself, guard it with your life. I've seen the importance of this week. This is the week that showed me you need to guard your routines, because for the first time in my life, I understand how habits compound, and how like the whole theme of Atomic Habits, the book. I haven't really read it, but I've like watched videos on it. But the take that you want your habits to compound, you want your routines to kind of like follow each other, to be stacked on top of each other. That's exactly what I had done beginning this year, where I created a good routine. Like I'm on day 70, consecutive days, 70 consecutive days of meditation. And I'm like super proud of it. I think today is like day 73. I'm really proud of that. Like, right, it was something I was conscious. And that was the start. And on top of that, I started stacking all the different habits I wanted to do. So I wake up in the morning, I do my morning pages, which I fell off with, then meditate. And then after I know I'm going into the bathroom, I'm brushing my teeth, we taking a shower. And then from there, I've compounded all the habits. Oh no, now we exercising, we're doing warm ups, whatever it is I'm doing for the day. Same thing as my night routine. I established it. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Um, as we go to sleep, as we wind down, and slowly I'd stick on more habits on top. So I'd even taking meds like my supplements, like yours, based on those habits. In the morning, we will do our magnesium. At night, we'll do our zinc, just depending with the day and what I'm having. So it only took one weekend where things hit hard and I went a little too extreme because I really wanted to dance, but I went to dance and I did it overboard and I came back home really late. And then the next day I didn't get some rest and it was up and doing other things. And the post group depression hit and I wasn't ready for it. And I saw how it kind of like affected my entire routine because from stopping to doing one thing, it's so easy to then neglect other things as well. You're like, no, today is a cheat day. I won't do this. It starts with that. I won't do my morning pages. Cool bit. And then next thing, it's something else. I don't have to take my supplements today. It's cool. We'll be fine. And then slowly you watch it all unravel, like go down. So I was like, oh no, it's so important to protect my routine. So I am going to get better at it. Um, but at the same time, the week also just has been rough, regardless of uh, post group depression. I think it was just showing me the things that I've had to live through, overcome. And you think it would be like empowering, like, yes, we've gone through the most and came out strong. There were aspects that were just like, damn, so is this the cycle of life I want to be stuck in? Because you can see all the recurring themes. And for those that know about the Saturn return, I'm currently going through mine. So the exact date was the 25th of February. And on that day, I just remember being grateful for the journey and reflecting everything I've gone through. But at the same time, I'm just like, shit, I've gone through a lot of shit. I'm sorry for swearing to this one. Yeah, we're gonna swear a lot, but yeah, I was like, I've gone through some serious shit and I'd like to now be done with that cycle, you know? And it also allowed me to to hold space for myself to say, we are growing, we're changing, and we are becoming. So in this process of becoming, it's always good that you allow yourself grace to actually become because it's not going to happen overnight. It's again, this small increment habits that you take on, the small experiences that you have that shape you into who you're becoming and the experiences you choose to have as well. Because I've seen a lot of it is about you choosing and or allowing experiences to come in and out of you. And that's what manifestation also is really about at the end of it. Um, but regardless of it being hard, here we are today, um, doing well and still being in a place of okay, let's let's do this. And the ideas are still coming, which is interesting about the brain. It doesn't stop. It doesn't care about what kind of like situation I'm in. I've known some of the things I'll be daydreaming about are so big. Like I'm like someone in my shoes would not in my shoes, but in the time and place I'm in, shouldn't be daydreaming like that because it's too scary. It's like you're dreaming of all these big things, but in your current reality, you are not putting in any work that points to you bringing those dreams to reality. So it's like a huge disconnect. Like, damn, okay, okay. So, if I had done anything about it so far, yeah, yeah, trying, man. I'm trying. Oof. Yeah. So the one thing that this week's chapter theme about gaining your strength was funny enough, it was more going back to childhood, early childhood patterns. And I was like, ah, here we go again. We're going to do some inner child healing. I've done it. Come on now. Uh, this is back to grade one. But this was different in that it focused more on zoning in to your creative expressions as a child and how well it was received, right? And it was something I never even considered, not even once. So there was this need to exercise in the end. You can see I was writing like my notes called early patternings and exercise. And it started with as a kid, my dad thought my art was, and then dash, and that made me feel. And I don't know, lie, like these questions are really nice. I had never thought about it. For example, for this question, I was like, I don't remember my father ever having an opinion towards my autistic endeavors. My mom, yes, but my dad, no. I don't even remember bringing it to him. It was merely more of, oh, dad, I am going to take a dance class. So, oh, okay, cool. But there was never that support, and I never felt safe. So what I actually have figured out about this is like most of it reclaiming your power is always coming back to you looking at it from your place of from your own vantage view. I chopped that so bad, but forgive me, I can't find the right words. I was thinking, oh, let me pause so I can edit that out and start again. But I'm like, no, bro, we're not doing that today. But it was it's me basically now looking myself as a child and say, okay, but what was going through your head? What was it that made you not tell your dad instead of what did my dad do? It's like, what about me? That's how you reclaim your power. Help you guys get me on that one. And I realized it was just because I never felt safe sharing aspects of my life with my father. Like I've never felt even as an adult because I was like trying to scrutinize it more and I look at it now, same way he would have taken the reception of what I'm doing now. There's not a sense of safety that had been built to express myself in that. For me, it was like, you're the firstborn. I'd imposed that firstborn rules of engagement to say your job as a firstborn is to be the pacemaker and pave the pathway of example for everyone else. And that means being like taking stuff seriously, everything you do it to like seriously. So there's no room for play. Um, so I took on that role and being conditioned to it as well. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep my arts away and not share. And how did it make me feel? I simply just accepted it as the definition of truth. And I just neglected and didn't even care much about it. Like I didn't even see the need for it. I'm like to be supported in that way because I'm like, man, you know. And I'm like mad with a lot of things. Sometimes it scares me. I'm like, why are you so mad? I'm like, I don't know. It's like meh. Um, it protects my peace, but it sometimes you see it's actual like neglect to some things that you don't care about something like that you should care about in list. So yeah, that was a good way to start off this inner childhood healing journey because now it's like, oh, we're looking at this differently now. We're not looking at it from the point of, oh, my parents did this and then I reacted at this manner. It's just like looking at me internally. Why? Why did you choose to do this? Why did you choose not to do this, for example, regardless? And why do you still continue to do that? And now I started uncovering all the different aspects of that. Um, and yo, there was this, yeah, the question where it said, as a kid, my mother told me that by my daydreaming was, and my response was, I never hardly shared my daydreams. I focused more on telling them what they wanted to hear. Woof! When I say that, that's when I noticed my entire life has been about focusing on showing the image of what it is they want to see, telling people what it is they want to hear. even now, like it's like I might be struggling with life, but if I sit and have a conversation with family, I'll just tell them what they want to hear to make it look like I know what I'm doing. And I know for the most part of my life, I've been put in positions where people thought I know what I'm doing, but I don't. Simply because of that trait in me where I knew what to say. That's why even understanding love, it took me a long while to fully understand it. Understood it from like, let's say like a religious standpoint where like with the religion, you understand the thing, the rules, what you're supposed to do and not supposed to do, and what the output is when you do it. So you give and whatever people, there's joy and all of those things. Well, same with love. Like I understood if you do A, B, C, and D for someone, you listen to them, you're there for them, you care, you are vulnerable. The output is, oh, you're so nice and whatnot, whatnot. You're kind and all of that, and they feel special and elevated. You're like, oh, that's love. So for me, I learned that from a young age to just be a child that is whoever my externalities needed me to be, especially the people in position of power. So power over me, obviously. So that was where that conditioning came from. In that I didn't know how to be authentic in my own expressions. This is why authenticity has been a huge topic this last 4 or 5 years because I realized that I'm like, all these things I've been doing for my life, I've been doing it for other people. All this persona has always been for other people. What am I doing for myself? What are you doing for yourself? Wholeheartedly, because it's something that is you. And I was even thinking about earlier having a discussion with someone in my head about their beliefs versus mine. And I was like, no, it's just, this is in my head. I was just thinking to myself, no, it's like, who are you outside of your beliefs? I think I've preached on that a lot. You should be able to define yourself outside of that, outside the expectations of what you are supposed to do within the confines of those beliefs. Who are you? What's your identity? Right. Um, so recognizing this, that I will say and do for other people and not for myself was big as a revelation because it gave me strength to say, okay, what do you want to do for yourself then as an adult? Like, let's say you're going back into this childhood pattern, that you're going back into this childhood era. What would you have done differently in being authentic in your expression towards your dreams? And what was it out of hoped for the reaction to be? Because then I started to notice the aware fears around being authentic. That's why people are inauthentic. There's a fear of being authentic, and most of it is being rejected. Those aspects of you, and then you repress them, aka shadow work. Do your shadow work. So basically, you ask yourself, what is it that you fear that's blocking you from authentically expressing yourself in your own strength? And the most common fear is that of being rejected. That if the true you comes out, the people that you love, the people that are close to you will judge you. And so you judge yourself before they judge you. And I saw something where I think it was from I Understood, where she's like, desire to be judged, let them judge you. And I was like, damn, that's so true because it is part of it. Part of you being authentically expressing yourself is expecting the judgment to come and standing tall because either way you are going to be judged. So, yeah, I think that's just something to focus on as well. And yeah, man, I see so much beauty in the work. I'm seeing so much beauty in the work. And for anyone listening, I hope you're also inspired to do the work because there's so much beauty, the work on yourself. However it comes out for you is beautiful. So yeah, um, the other thing that was highlighted was the difference between taking big leaps and small leaps, and how we are always expecting when we do these things, it must be big. Like the leap must just be night and day. And I think that's what I've been craving for, that big spot that just comes, changes everything completely sideways. And this is why I started with talking about how habits compound, is because those small things that you're doing every day are more important because you're teaching yourself to show up each and every day. Every day you're showing up to the table. Every day you're finding an aspect of yourself um, in the cyclic nature of life. You do that and you're growing. It feels small, it feels like you're going in circles, but you're actually growing in the process. Before you know it, you're up there, better than where you were yesterday. So I think that should be my focus now, just taking in the small steps on a daily basis and then seeing that growth, because all of that is somewhat preparation of the big things to come. And what I saw now is becoming a huge factor in wanting the big leaps as opposed to doing things in the small increment steps, is something that's also was in my childhood, which I discovered, which is a sense of laziness, right? I am lazy, not for like work wise, like I'm lazy, I don't like working. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I'm only motivated to do the work if they are big guarantees that come with it. So if I know definitively that this will produce this and I'm 100% certain, then watch me be the most hard worker towards whatever that achievement is. But if it's something that's vague and I don't know what the outcome is, which is life for the most part, I've seen I have like a lazy stance to it, to doing the thing, because it's like, what if I do it and it doesn't work well, which is a huge barrier because the whole point is to experience and experiment. So I'm slowly stopping to do that and starting to focus more on just being, just accepting that not everything will yield the expected results, but in it, there's something I've learned about myself. So that's been my different approach now to taking on challenges, taking on things outside my comfort zone, things that I would have been lazy towards, even the small things every day. It's like, oh no, just do it, see where it takes you, learn from it, and recalibrate after. And I've been thinking about what I want. Like in this thing, it does say, what are list your dreams in a perfect world, and rethinking my choices around like DJing and what I want to do on the corporate side and how it can all come together. And the vision is clear. It's a matter of, are you willing to continue the work, right? Because I'd neglected some of this work. And I think the more why I recommended the movies I recommended at the start of this episode is there's this element that shows you how your story, you already started writing it before you were born. You're born into it and you start to see the different work that you've been putting in. And you're like, but man, I was always interested in this thing. It's not a shocker that I want to create shows where there's dance incorporated into it, you know, where it's a big production. I look at my life, like I've always been fascinated by it, always found myself dancing, daydreaming, dancing. And I remember someone saying, "Oh, you're a dancer too." And I was like, "No, I just dance. I'm not a dancer. I'm just dance." And I was like, "No, but actually you are a dancer. Like, it's just you haven't embraced it because for you it's a title you don't want people to look at you from. You just yeah." So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm excited that one day might just work with Beyonce, bro.
Um, yeah. So it's gonna be a good week. And this episode is very um short in length. Hopefully that's a good thing. But yeah, I'm a bit tired. I'm like, it's like March. You better give, bro. Like you need to give and staying hopeful. I have a renewed hope as well. Went for like a 10-kilometer walk yesterday with some friends. Had some in-depth conversations, which I'm gonna share more on TikTok. But it was interesting just to see how much your childhood home shapes who you are now. And if anything, in this episode, I hope it encourages you to also look into your own childhood to figure stuff out and know exactly what it is.